and your ability to be unemotionally affected by your weekly or monthly financial situation has everything to do with planting good seeds and building that company that everybody wants, right? Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I'm your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm joined for the first time ever by a CEO leadership team, Dee and Randy Milby from the Window Source of Kentucky. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You guys are literally like the most stereotypical, awesome example of entrepreneurs and leaders and builders of something awesome. And I've had the pleasure of working with you guys for, going on a decade now. And I'm just so happy you're here. And I'm so happy you're the first leaders that we're getting to interview. We've never done a leadership interview on the podcast, but we're going to start mixing that in. And so you're the first. You're the guinea pig. What could go wrong, right?
Well, thank you.
Randy and Dee are in our town this week, recording an entire year's worth of production and commercials and marketing for their business. And so we've been having fun doing that. But now it's time to dissect their greatness and figure out how in the heck they have built from nothing, literally nothing, in just about 8 years, right?
Yeah.
A business that has grown to multiple locations, multi-millions of dollars in sales, a beautiful team, an airtight operation, and just living the life that so many people, I think, dream of living. And so are you willing to share that with us today?
Certainly.
Yes, absolutely.
So Randy Dee, Window Source of Kentucky is their business in Lexington, Kentucky, and then now Louisville as well.
Yes.
Louisville, did I say that right?
Louisville.
Oh,
It's got a lot of different names.
Yeah. Louisville. Sorry, Kentucky folks. And we're going to ask them about two key things that I know that our listeners will find valuable. And that is just how in the world did you grow? Because you guys had never really owned a business before. And going from nothing to this incredible sales volume you have now. And then you all work together. You're married too, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You live in the same house.
Married? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still married and happily married, I might add.
Yes.
Yes.
Randy and Dee and Valerie and I have traveled the world together. We've built companies together kind of the same time. You know, they've raised kids. We have younger kids, and we've just experienced a lot of life together, right?
Yes.
And we've had a blast doing it. And so it's always so refreshing to see how happy and peaceful and just mature and like wise they do what they do while working together in the business. And we're going to ask them a little bit about that. So if you've ever wondered, how do I build something from nothing? If you've ever wondered, how would I ever work with my wife? Or how would I ever work with my husband? I think this is a good episode for you. So is that fair?
Yeah.
Can we jump to that? They really don't have any idea what I'm going to ask them about today. So
We get that question a lot.
We do.
How do you guys work
really
together?
do.
So
yeah, so we're going to dive into that. But first, I want to know what in the world got you crazy enough to start a window company?
So our past experience, mine being in the window industry, Dee's background being in accounting and manufacturing, and a lot of bookkeeping, a lot of different areas that I definitely did not excel at. We
Excel? Is that,
yeah,
see,
Excel.
Look, he didn't excel at accounting.
Yeah, and she loves spreadsheets.
She was quick at books, though, right?
Yeah,
Quick
yeah,
books. All right,
absolutely.
cool. We had to get a pun in there, right?
Yeah,
we got that out of the way.
Of course, of course. I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
Yeah.
And so we've combined both of our strengths, right? And we had an opportunity to be part of the Window Source, and we had partnerships in the past that did not work out. And so we agreed that we would not do that anymore. Just Dee and myself were going to be the only partners moving forward.
You and Dee and God, right?
And God.
Exactly.
That's right, which he has a lot to do with this. So we've definitely been blessed. And so we started on this journey together and working together. We've gotten here, and got a lot more room to grow, and looking forward to that. But
so you are the string to his kite.
Exactly.
Yes? Is that a fair
Yes.
analogy? I have many strings the strongest being Valerie. But Randy, I happen to know, is a dreamer. He's a visionary. He's got big ideas.
Yes.
And so when he comes home and says, "Hey, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to start this new thing," start me there. Like, what was that like?
Well, I had known pretty much from the time we started dating that he always wanted to own his own business. And so that was always a dream of his. And I'm more, feet on the ground, just
Practical
all the time.
Now, what's this going to look like? Right?
And so I was scared to death, when he started telling me about it. But I believe in him. And I knew that he had such a passion for wanting to start his own business. So I just had so much faith in him. And he talked to me about it. And he always says, if I can convince her, then it's a go. And so he laid out all of his proposition.
Salesman.
Yeah. Laid everything out for me. And so I prayed about it. We prayed about it. And I just had a real peace about it. And I said, okay, let's do this. So
love it.
We decided to jump in and go for it.
So you guys, somewhere around 2016, really got going with the business, right? I think that's actually when we started, maybe working on your marketing. But
right after we started.
What was that like? So you're out on your own, starting from scratch. Do you remember your first customer? Do you remember how you first started getting business?
Oh, yeah. Our first customer actually is a family that Dee grew up with. We still have that check. I believe we framed it.
We did.
And so never forget that, your first customer.
Yeah.
That was kind of surreal.
His sister and I have been friends since we were 10 years old.
Wow.
And so when we told them we were doing this, of course, they were on board right away. And he's like, well, I've got this house and I need windows.
They
so
jumped
they were
in with
our
you.
very
You have
first
those
customer.
People that believe in you. I've got so many. You guys are actually part of that story for me. And we didn't know each other. We got introduced from a couple of mutual contacts. And you
Utah.
heard Utah. That's right. And we met up in a group of people. And you said, well, I don't know what you thought of me at the time, but
very skeptical.
Actually, I know what Dee thought of me.
Well, I mean, our nature is skeptical. We're skeptical anyway, and obviously going into a marketing campaign with someone you don't know, takes a lot of money. I say a lot. It takes money, right, to market your business and build a brand, and
you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah. And so, we just when we met you, we heard your story. It really just gave us a sense of comfort, trust, and it takes a lot for me to buy into that. And we have since the day we've met you, and we've been dealing with Frank and Maven since. And you've never given us any other reason but to keep moving forward.
So what you're talking about, I think, is an experience so many entrepreneurs have. They go, gosh, I've got this very finite amount of money. I have this very finite amount of resources, time, and really a short runway to get this thing off the ground. And since this is the Maven Marketing Podcast, talk about what marketing that you did and we did, out of the gate.
Well, I've been educated a lot from you when it comes to marketing. Yeah, I know the window part. I've done that most of my life, but the marketing part, a whole new world for me. But I learned about transitional marketing and about yesterday's customers, today's customers, and tomorrow's customers, which are all very important. So So you started transitional marketing.
Yeah, that today customer. We talk about people just trying to get that transaction.
Yeah,
and that's how a lot of people have to start, because they go, I don't have time for a lot of this foo-foo stuff. I don't have time for it to wait for it to work.
Yeah.
And how were you generating leads or transactions like we talk about today marketing?
Angie's List, Home Advisor. Who else, honey?
Next Door.
We weren't worried about branding at that point. We
were just trying to get the phone ring.
Selling a couple windows and keeping the doors open.
Yeah.
Worried about eating, right?
Yeah.
So what point, and I was there, but just from your perspective, so our listeners that might be talking about, a lot of lead generation, and it's just all about how many leads did I get today? How many appointments did I run this week? At what point did you feel like you could, I guess, for lack of a better word, afford to start thinking more long term? Because you were very today customer oriented. You were, spending that $2,000 on an Angie's List thing. You were spending some money on search engines. I don't even think we were doing Facebook lead gen at the time.
No.
At what point did you feel like, okay, I've got a steady hold on my cash flow and I can start investing into the tomorrow customer?
Look at her. So she's the one with her feet on the ground, and I'm the one with my head's in the clouds, right? The dreamer. So if I need to spend money, I have to go see her.
Got to go ask mama.
And
Yeah.
but we wouldn't be here without my wife Dee. And as we grew this business, she was saving money, putting money aside, very conservative. And then when we started talking about marketing in the future, that, hey, we got with you, we kind of had an idea of how things looked and kind of money that it would take, which, to be honest, scares me to death. But
So it scared me worse.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
but we trusted Frank and Maven and you, and so Dee had done her job, and then I sold her on, hey, let's spend some money in marketing, right?
And that was really difficult because, well, just to back up a little bit, I always had this intuition about people. I feel like I'm a very good judge of character. I was with him, and we've been together a long time. And I was with you, and we've been together a long time in a different way. But, the trust factor and how much I believed in you and what you were saying just grew so much over the first couple of years that, I could see the, proof in the pudding, so to speak. So
I like the proof in the pudding.
And the juice was always worth the squeeze, because I would test out a little bit and see how that worked. And then I would test a little bit more and see how that worked. And so after a while, it was like, okay, I'm all in. So it just took a while, but I think you have to be really careful, with who you have doing your marketing, because it makes a huge difference if you feel like that they have your back and they want what's best for your company.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have that relationship. We want what's best for Frank and Maven. You want what's best for the window source.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for saying that. And that's not at all the purpose of having you today, is for a testimonial. But I will say that I had that experience before going through the trial and error and all the stuff we write about in our book and all those, just hairy stories of all the money wasted. And so I get it. That's what fueled, that's why Frank and Maven exists. And so, but I want to go back to something that I've always admired that you have said. And Dee has this saying that says, save where you can so you can spend where you want. And Randy, I don't know if you just realized that you kind of passed over it, but having interviewed, consulted thousands of business owners and having answered the question, how do I really grow? Like, what's the most profitable type of business plan to grow? The plan I always bring them when they ask what's the most profitable is usually the one that hurts a little bit at first. It is expensive. And many either don't have the courage, but more often they just literally do not have the runway and the funds. If you listen to last week's episode, we talked about, we don't let people do real branding campaigns, the stuff that it takes to make big, big results over time that I think you guys would say you've, eventually benefited from in a big way. It takes a while to work. And so the entrepreneur that's hand to mouth, the guy that, made a big sale and went and bought a brand new truck, or the people that are just over leveraged on debt, they don't have this discipline that I've seen and admired so much in, the both of you, particularly Dee, but Randy following suit.
I agree.
Randy hasn't bought his Corvette yet. And let me tell you, Randy and their whole business has made enough money to buy multiple Corvettes for the stroke of a check. And that's how disciplined they are. And actually, while we're on the Corvette topic, didn't you sell a Corvette to start this crazy thing?
We sold, Dee and I had an old car, and we did have a Corvette at one time. And but we sold an old car, my old muscle car we had, as
Pride and joy.
Well.
It was a pride and joy, man.
Yeah,
I remember you
yeah,
you
yeah.
still talk about it. You get
Yeah.
misty eyed.
I love old cars, and
Yeah.
so we sold it to bootstrap our business.
Man.
Yeah.
So and it's paid off.
So that discipline, though, I want to hone in on that because we talk a lot about marketing and tactics and the tomorrow customer and how you're always building the snowball and the commitment factor. But what we don't talk about a lot is the mindset behind what it takes to pull that off. Because even a business that's doing seemingly well, even a business that has, multiple dozens of employees, pulling off big things like you guys have pulled off is really a matter of that discipline, those retained earnings, that building that safety net that I know you guys have built. And what would your advice be to people? I know you live in a much more comfortable and predictable mindset now than you did then, but what would your advice be to somebody who's sitting there going, well, gosh, I could go on, 10 more vacations, or I could, blow the money here or there? What would you say?
Well, I was brought up very conservatively, with money and everything. And so I learned from a very young age that, you have to put money aside for a rainy day. And so I took, any bit of accounting that I have, any bookkeeping I have, all that was just, I grew up with that, balancing my checkbook and all that sort of thing was all that I just brought into the business. I never had any formal training in it. And so for me, it was always, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. So when we started the business, I mean, I had markers, ink pens, paper. I had stuff at home that I just took into the office and used. I mean, if we didn't have to have it, we just didn't buy it. And so it was easier to save money that way. We had chairs that we bought, from a thrift store and things like that.
I love those stories.
I mean, we really did. We started because we wanted to be able to, save where we can so we can spend where we want to. So in order for us to want to do marketing, well, we had to take that money and put it in this bucket and use the little bit of money that we had here to get things that we really had to have, because there's a big difference between a want and a need.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh.
I think you have, it's biblical, that you have to be good stewards of your money. And even in our business or in our personal life, that, we've got a little bit of money put aside to, we could do these things, but it's not being good stewards of the money. We want to invest in our business and continue to grow, and that's what we've done. So I got a quick story, real quick. I mean, we can afford envelopes, okay? So
oh no,
we do, when we pay our people each week, we use envelopes that, we get junk mail, they send you a return envelope. Well, we just scribble it out. We just repurpose those envelopes.
we did.
I love
I'm very thrifty.
The old saying, if you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just little things.
Stop your car if you're listening to this right now and just jot that down.
Plus, we're huge Dave Ramsey fans.
Yeah. Well, we love Dave Ramsey. I mean, without Dave Ramsey's principles, I think that Frank and Maven would have never been set up the way that it was. And this whole zero debt, or this whole just good stewardship, I can't express enough. Like when I have the opportunity to really talk to a business owner, like we had 4 or 5 of them reach out to us this week, and they always want the thing. They always want the prize, right?
Right.
They always want what you guys have. Frankly, they want the cash flow. They want the debt free. They want the flexibility and the freedom that everybody tends to think of with entrepreneurship. And I'm always going like as I've learned, and frankly, you guys have been a big part of this, I'm always going, does this fella have the stuff? Everybody has the want.
Yeah.
But do they have the stuff? Do they have the discipline and the maturity, really, to think about growth? Because what I've learned with our company is you can have somebody that's got a pile of money, or they think they have a pile of money, but they're emotionally attached to that pile of money, and all the other gazillion things they do are attached to that pile of money. And so I'm really looking for, do these people have staying power? Because I don't want to attach my effort and take up effort from Nate the camera guy and all the other wonderful people in this building. Because like the least profitable and the hardest work we do is like in the first 3 years of a client.
Yeah.
And so if we build, and then some silly decision they've made just pulls the rug out from what we're doing. Those aren't people that I've learned that we can do our best work for, and that we can get the kind of results that we want to be famous for, right? So if you're listening and you're going, this is a marketing podcast, and what in the world are they talking about? Because this has nothing to do with the marketing. It actually does.
Yeah.
Your staying power and your courage and your ability to be unemotionally affected by your weekly or monthly financial situation has everything to do with planting good seeds and building that company that everybody wants, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes. Definitely.
And I literally cannot think of a better example of anybody I've ever worked with than you guys, because I happen to know how much business you generate, and it's a lot. It's really, really, really awesome. And the fact that you're still sitting here saying that and you're recycling envelopes just gives me goosebumps. So
We recycled envelopes so we go on vacation next year.
That's right. That's right.
Now, mathematically, people are going, "Oh, that's stupid." What do you save $40 on envelopes? Yeah. I'm going, if they're saving $40 on envelopes, you just see the other 40,000 they're saving in other places. Exactly. Is what I would say. So, let's go a little bit practically to marketing. You got to have the right mindset. You got to have the courage and the staying power. And I'm telling you, I know these guys, and they came from nothing. It wasn't like they had some big imaginary retirement fund they dipped in. They had a pride and joy car and a couple of things they sold, and they bootstrapped an amazing business. When did you know? I know you talked about you had the money there, which it wasn't a gamble, and a lot of people try to gamble with marketing, but when did you know that, okay, I'm not going to be transactional. I'm going to be branding, and I'm going to put seeds in the ground, and I'm going to start winning over my market? Because one of the very first podcasts we did, we referred to Randy and Dee, and we shared their campaign, and it's awesome and it's fun, and I can't wait to show you guys the 10 new ads we did today. But it doesn't work overnight.
No. And
if you're sitting here going, "Oh, I'm going to run that for 2 or 3 months and see what happens," what was your experience with that?
Yeah, the experience with that, credit to you again. You explained to us as we get into the branding part of it. That's yesterday's customers, today's customers, tomorrow's customers, right?
Right.
And you really broke that down to where we can understand, how you certainly set expectations that, hey, this isn't a get rich quick thing, but you do have to invest in your future.
It is a get rich thing, but it's not a get rich quick thing.
I have to say, though, that was one of the things that helped bring me on board.
Yeah.
I also, if I can interject, I remember Brandon telling us that, you all aren't here yet. So why don't we invest this amount of money right now? Yeah. Because I was scared to death, so instead of, jumping in with, this amount of money that just seemed like so much to me at the time, Brandon said, "You know what? Let's just start with this and see how that." And that made me feel so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's just been a gradual process, where we started out, small, and we just continued to build every year. And you told us up front, like Randy was saying, you made it very clear to us that, you know what, this ain't going to happen overnight. No. We have to build the brand, and that's what's happened.
Yeah. So, something I talk about in our book is that experience, because I came from a small business background, because I watched my dad write these checks that were painful, and I saw firsthand what it was like to send money away that you were uncertain to feel. Like I had an emotional experience with that. And then when it was my job to sell advertising, I had the same, on the reverse side of the table, I had the same guilt. I had the same, oh my gosh, I really hope this works for these people. I'm doing the best I can, but I don't really know what the heck I'm doing yet. And so I've had that experience of where I didn't set expectations right because I didn't know, and I was the bad guy, right? That's many, many years ago. But now, to avoid that feeling, to avoid being that guy at all costs for them and for me, I'm like, this is why we said last week on the podcast, I don't let people, unless they can show me, I've got literally a pile of money set aside. I don't let them go into heavy branding, because when you're trained, the false marketing culture trains you to say dollar in, customer out, dollar in, customer out. And that can happen on the Today side. It happens a certain percentage of the time. But the way, 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 way bigger result we're getting, as you guys have seen, is that what you've done consistently for the last 12 months buys you 5 years worth of your next opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then the next year buys you 5 more, and they compound and they stack and stack, and it becomes this big snowball. That's what we call tomorrow marketing. So fast forward to today. You've been doing this. I'll just summarize really quickly. When we were sure that Dee had pinched all the pennies and had a pile of money that she was okay not seeing for a bit, we allowed them, quote unquote, we said, we'll put our name on it if we start building a campaign to make the, Randy and Dee people famous, right? Window Source Kentucky famous. And just, I think, right on schedule, not a whole lot of stuff in the first 6 months, right? You might have felt a little bit. You get a phone call here or there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because their category, windows, it takes the average homeowner 33 years before they buy windows. So somebody today, an extremely small, like 0.1% of the population cares about buying today, but a lot of them care about buying tomorrow, right?
Yeah. So
fast forward to today, after we've had a steadily growing broadcast campaign, and the budget is nice today. It started modest. But what is the reality? Like today, getting business, today, selling customers, today's average ticket, today's profit margin, today's ease of closing deals versus when you were waiting for that coupon customer to call.
Oh, yeah.
or waiting for that
Big difference.
search engine. Just tell us all about it.
The transitional marketing is, you spend these dollars and you expect to get those dollars back plus some, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, some profit.
Hopefully enough to pay for the advertising and then ship the lowly little ad guy a little money.
And we were marketing to anybody that had a window, right? Or that we thought may have a window. We were putting windows in taco trucks and
anything we could get.
Anywhere we could
I would run to the bank with $100 check. Here you go.
And been there, yeah.
And as this marketing has progressed and our business has grown, we've been able to really focus more on our demographics and our customers, that we're looking for. Our average job size is tripled since we started.
Definitely.
The quality of the leads has improved tremendously.
Yeah.
Our closing percentage on the sales side has increased. So a lot of key metrics that we track, and marketing being one of them. Your KPIs are important for your business, and just keep and just watch them improve and grow. It's been a really cool journey.
I love hearing that. Because that's what we hoped had happened, and that's what happens for the people that do the things that you've done. I've seen it now hundreds, if not thousands of times, and it's the only way to build like a consistently massive marketing machine. And just practically for anybody listening, when Randy Dee started, we were doing search engine and obsessing over every click and cost per lead. And it's not that our team has stopped doing that, but they were also running, coupons in a
Val pack,
some direct mailers, trying to, the $50 off a window type stuff, showing up at home shows, working their butts off for the whole weekend. And just, it was like scrape and scrap. And it's not that we've lost that type of customer completely, but now, as Randy was saying, the customer that shows up is the high quality customer, because you guys can't walk in a supermarket and somebody not recognize you, right?
Yeah, we definitely have probably more people mentioned that they've seen us on TV than we did before, and it's it's kind of a cool thing. But it's like people say you're like Hollywood. I said, yeah, except for we have to pay to be on TV.
We don't get paid.
They get paid to be on TV. We have to pay people to put us on TV.
I don't know, some of these new ads. I think you can get a lot of free media with the stuff we did last couple days. So
we're having fun with it.
So, but now, like practically, let's just tell the person who wants a multi-million-dollar business and wants to have that ease, wants to have that customer that's coming to you ready to buy. Mm-hmm. I know your close rates have gone up, even probably for your greenest sales guy. Did you say one of them was hitting 70-80% close rates?
Yeah.
And my goodness, if you know anything about home improvement, that is tough.
It's amazing.
That is tough. Yeah. Like most of my guys that haven't done what you've done, 30-40% is good, unless it's just a really, really seasoned person. So their entry level sales guys are doing phenomenal. And what that looks like today is we basically do two things. We do Google, and actually this last year we decreased our Google budget. We decreased our lead generation budget. A little bit of Facebook in between, but the lion's share of the budget goes to making you and your company famous and making people like and trust you on a daily basis, right?
Right.
And we do that both Louisville and Lexington. And if you were in those markets, you've no doubt seen them. And if you're not in those markets, you can click on the link in this podcast and you see some of the commercials. But it's consistency. We've been in the same places for several years now. We've shown up daily to 50, 60, 80,000 people a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've entertained them. We've tried to make them smile. And then just in this little window, we've tried to say, and when you're ready for Windows, we make it so simple, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? That's been our strategy.
Yeah.
And reality today, outside of the business growth, the organic business growth, I can tell you this morning, we just did a little 12-month recap. And the amount of people searching for your business name just in 1 year's time has increased like 41%. They come to you first before they look for competitors, before they look for window companies, they look for window source of Kentucky. And they're finding you and they're coming to you directly, which means they already like you, right?
Yeah.
They skipped all the shopping process. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Your sales guys feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that they feel that, we're going into homes and people call that say, I've seen your commercial, and we do a good job at asking how you heard about us, and we track all that. And like you said earlier, people, we hope that they like us and trust us.
They can relate to us because we're just normal people making a living like everybody else.
And people buy from people they like and trust.
I hate to tell you, but you're not normal.
Yeah.
I've seen normal. You are not normal, but we do our very best job to make you, your characters look and relate to normal folks. Yeah. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. You were, as Dave Ramsey called it, you're weird.
Yeah.
You're weird. You folks are weird.
Yeah.
You don't have debt. You're weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love that. And just to quickly recap that, start small. They're as scared as any business owners to spend money. They have this massive force called Dee and save where you can so you can spend where you want. They had this staying power and this beautiful nest egg and this safety net that they built before they even really felt like they had it. And it's not that they blew it all on marketing, but they had the wherewithal and the courage and the confidence because they weren't worried about how to pay their dadgum truck payments or whatever to do the right thing, to do the long-term thing. And now it's the tortoise and the hare. And I'm seeing a lot of hares really have a tough time right now. I see a lot of hares who are bouncing up and down and grabbing money and, just getting that today customer. So, and the play has been broadcast with a little bit of search engine and constantly more going towards broadcast and search engine. Let's talk about working together. And you guys have some family that work with you. You have kids that work with you, yes?
We do.
I want to talk about you all first because some people are going, holy smokes, how could that ever work? Like, I'll win the bread and you do all the stuff that makes our house and our life go, right? That's, unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately, that's just a lot of the traditional roles. But you guys have done this together. I've seen you work. I've been on calls with you for years and you're, usually there together. How do y'all do that?
First of all, we're partners in our marriage.
Yes.
And we're best friends. And we're also partners in our business, right? Yes. And so you have to, people think marriage is 50-50. It's not. It's 100-100. So
I love that.
She gives me 100% of her. I give her 100% of me.
Love that.
We're human. We fail every day. But we still love each other and we respect each other.
That's the big thing right there.
Yeah. And
what is it practically? What does that look like, respect? I mean, I think a lot of us have our own idea about that. But for you,
man, I say here do this to her because of, I'm not I've learned a lot from my wife and my friend. I never was a saving type person. I was a buyer. I wasn't a shopper. I just go and buy stuff, right? She's taught me how to save money, how to buy. It's not the next shiny thing, but, the impulse buys can get you in trouble real quick. And she's really taught me a lot about, just don't get in a big hurry. Let's wait. Let's save a little money instead of making payments on that. Let's wait a little bit and then we'll just go buy it. And she's just really good at that patience. And it's helped me grow a lot. And then her other qualities outweigh mine by 100 miles.
That's not true.
So as the kite,
True.
I'm not even the kite. I'm the tail. She's the string kite, and I'm the tail.
That's not true at all.
I'm a kite. Randy's a kite.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can fully relate to what Randy's saying, but what
Yeah.
does it look like for the string to be looking over the kite? What's respect look like there?
Well, I just think, because I do things differently and I see things so much differently. And that took patience for me to try to get used to that, but above all, I would say, if I do make a mistake or he does make a mistake, I know that he's doing the very best that he can, and he knows I'm doing the very best I can. So it comes back to respect. I really respect who he is as a person. I respect his heart, what he believes in, what his values are. And so at the end of the day, to me, that is more important than whatever it is that we disagree on.
Love it.
And that is what has held us together, through some rough times. But, I think working together is a lot of fun too, because when he comes home or I come home, I know exactly what he's talking about. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
That is the good side of it, yeah.
And so, we can talk about things. The downside is sometimes we don't not talk about things,
Yeah. So talk about that. So boundaries. What have you learned over the years? How do you turn it on and off? Because that's something Valerie and I have had to learn. Is like she knows when it's a good time to talk about this. I know it's a good time to talk about this, and we've learned that. But it took some I think sometimes you got to say, I really want to talk to you about this. I am just not in a place where I should.
Yeah. Well, I think in order to have a good, strong marriage in the first place, you have to have exceptional communication. I think that communication and respect.
Yeah.
And I think that, we have to tell each other, look, I'm kind of in a bad mood right now. Just want you to know it has nothing to do with you. It's been a
that's such
horrible
powerful
day.
language.
And can we just, talk about this later?
Given context.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay, because I thought maybe I did something. Especially when you're working together. I thought
that's
maybe
so
I did
powerful.
something.
Yeah.
You're like, nope, had nothing to do with you.
Having thoughts about our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And being able to
Because you can go down a
acknowledge
bad
that.
road. Yeah. But I think, just being able to recognize each other's strengths too. And I've learned that more just over the last few months. And it's been really eye-opening. Like I've always known he has such great strengths when it comes to, what he does and his experience with windows, doors, shades, shutters, blinds, all those things he has experience in. I don't. I couldn't run this company without him. There's no way, because he just has so much to offer in those areas that I don't. And so that's another thing that you have to respect.
Just the way you talk about that just makes it so evident. And I would encourage anybody who, if I'm being honest, so a lot of people I admire never had a really healthy business relationship with their spouse or their partner. And so I think they had enough else going on good in their life. Sometimes they ignore it, but it builds over time. There's resentment, and then there's, frustration. And it's just like you said, nobody knows how to even pinpoint what's frustrating them. Mm-hmm. And it's led to a lot of really big problems. I think I can think of some people that have gotten divorced because they owned a business and they had all this freedom and they had all this ability to express themselves and go out and save the world. And then they didn't, that spouse, either because they didn't know how important it was to be involved or didn't know how to talk about it or whatever, they didn't have that method of connecting there. And a business that grows as big as yours has grown can take over you. It can become your prize, and it can become your idol. It can, and absolutely.
You have to continuously work at it. I mean, it's not something that's fixed overnight, but I think sometimes creates a rub is we have so much passion
Yes.
for our customers,
Oh man.
and
Shared values.
without them,
Shared purpose.
without them,
Yes.
none of us are in business, right? So, Dee has this such passion. If a customer calls in and if there is an issue with something, she wants it taken care of right away because she puts herself in the shoes of that customer.
Oh man.
And rightfully so. I'm on the other side of it where, hey, we have processes we have to go through and we want to take care of that. And, so it's just being on the same page. But
That's
at
so
the end of the
beautiful.
day,
Yeah.
it's about passion for our customers
Yeah.
and wanting to get nothing but the best outcome for them.
And you talk
Another-
about that. You talk about that shared outcome.
Yeah. Another thing I've really, really realized too is that, I have a very strong personality, and, I want things done this way and this way and this way.
That's why we call her Dang Dee.
Yeah. And, Randy's the same way. So I think that, even though we're partners in life and we're partners in the business, I have learned this, that one of you has to be the chief and one of you has to be the Indian.
Wow.
I mean, and it's taken me a long time. I'm just going to be transparent.
Wow.
It's taken me a long
Can
time.
you drop that mic for us?
It's taken me a long time to realize that. And I think that, at the end of the day, somebody has to make that final decision. Now, I think both people should come with their input, but
Yeah.
you can't have that tug of war and that back and forth just constantly. I want to win. I want to win. I'm going to take you down. Because if you do, you're not only going to lose your business, you're going to lose your marriage too and your best friend.
Wow.
So I think that
Folks,
you have to.
Rewind, play that back. I'm going to rewind that. I'm going to play that back.
Yeah.
It's strong.
I'm going to put that as sound, but probably make that your ringtone or something. Nate's camera guy can make that happen. Download the free Dee Wisdom ringtone.
Oh, yeah, right.
You were telling me something earlier that I actually saw you post this a few weeks ago, and I thought it was awesome. And read it to us.
It says, to build a strong team, you must see someone else's strength as a complement to your weakness and not a threat to your position or authority.
Whew.
That spoke volumes to me, and I think it really points to what I just said. I mean, my strengths, we can't look at each other as opposing teammates.
No.
There are no opposing teammates. That's an oxymoron. You have to be on the same team, me and him against the world at all times.
Man.
Because, as we know.
I think it's so easy to look at other people that are on your team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use Nate, the camera guy, for example. And it's like when you're looking at it, it's not a person you have all this life intertwined, and it's just somebody you go to work with, even though you might have a great culture.
Yeah.
And we do here, and I know you guys do as well. It's easy to think that about somebody you're not married to or somebody who's not in some sort of, as you said, tug of war. Because you go, oh, well, Nate can do like a gazillion things I'll never be able to do.
Right.
And it's easy to see that in Caleb and Megan and Riley and Audrey and all the people that, work on our team. But I don't know why we lose sight of that. And it's the person we love and care about the most.
You know, to say to yourself, you're better at that than I am, and I'm not going to fight you on it. You know?
That is beautiful.
That's what I want to create is a team of people that's a lot smarter and a lot better at their jobs than I am.
That is probably why you are where you are at this point, my friend. And
they can teach me.
Yeah. So I don't know how long we've rambled on, but I think this definitely one of my favorite.
This is real,
episode.
man.
It's
Frank and
real.
Maven, as real as it gets.
You got it, Frank. So speaking of the Maven side, let's teach just a little bit more. Is there anything? So say there's somebody that is you 10 years ago, and they're looking at this massive thing they want to make happen, and they're going, "How in the heck would I ever make that happen?" What's your advice to people who are sitting there going, "I know it can be better, and where I'm at now is not where I want to be, and I know that the organization I'm at is not going to ever change this world like I want to change it." So what would you say to that person who's
don't be afraid of failure? That pit in your stomach, that fear should be a motivator. So the more fear and the more that weird feeling in your gut, that's a good thing. Don't lose it.
Wow.
But keep
faith.
that
Faith over fear.
Faith over fear. Yeah,
Man.
exactly. but failure has taught me so much in my last 40 years of doing this that I'll be honest, without the failures, I probably, without Dee next to me and the failures I've had, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel that way. I mean, I cherish the fact that he's my husband and that we can work together and that we have built this business and, things are going well for us. Cause I would have never, I'm the type of person, I was in the same house for 20 years. I'd probably still be living in that house, working the same job I worked forever if I didn't have this dreamer as a husband. Cause that's the way I was. And with
that's
him,
the string.
he brings
looking
me
up the kite. Yeah.
He brings me along.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Yes. Yes.
Come on, let's go.
Like everything we did today.
Come on, guys. Come on, man. That's Randy's catchphrase.
Like everything we did today.
Holy, I'll just say, like, Dee stole the show. Like these commercials coming out.
Yeah.
And probably the greatest feat as a sales guy I've ever pulled off was not getting Dee to spend the money on TV, but was getting her to actually be in her own commercials.
Oh, talk about
She's like, I'll pay double. I'll pay
she's
double.
A natural.
Oh,
She
she's
does a
awesome.
great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here.
you.
I know this is spoken to somebody or dozens or hundreds of people who are looking up, wanting the exact things that you guys have built. It's an honor to work with you. It's an honor to be
Same here,
part of
my
your
friend.
story. And we're not done. We're not even close to done.
Just getting started.
You are. We're on the verge of some really, really promising signals for explosive growth, and it's because you've had the discipline and the groundwork and the faith, and just the awesomeness that you guys bring to the world together. So, give the podcast a like and a subscribe if you want to hear more from Dee and Randy and people like them. We're blessed to say we have other people that other Dees and Randys. That's actually not true. We have other wonderful people that we're going to be bringing to you more often in the podcast. So hit that like, subscribe button, share it, forward the emails. Subscribe at frankandmaven.com for the newsletter. We're putting all sorts of fun stuff. And if you didn't get it today, we're going to drop Randy and Dee's campaigns in there so you guys can take a look at them. And we'll be back here every Monday talking about your real life marketing and business questions, because marketers who can't teach you why, you guys know it, marketers who can't teach you why are just a fancy lie.
Oh,
you know that. You've heard before. Marketers that can't teach you why
are just a fancy lie.
We'll talk to you guys next week.